welcome to another episode of Down to Disness, a monthly series where I pick a Disney animated movie and talk about its history and impact on pop culture. Due to overwhelming demand, this month's movie is 1991's Beauty and the Beast. Not gonna lie, Beauty and the Beast is maybe my favorite Disney movie ever, and so I'm feeling a lot of pressure right now to do it justice. Let's go. Walt Disney actually wanted to make Beauty and the Beast into an animated feature as early as the 1930s, and he tried again in the 1950s, but the story team could not figure out a way to successfully adapt the original Beauty and the Beast tale, and so it was shelved until the 80s. The animated version that we have today went through significant changes during production. They changed directors a few times because some of the initial directors wanted to go with a more dark tone for the movie that was more true to the original story, and initially, the movie wasn't going to be a musical. Can you believe it? Kirk Wise and Gary Truesdale ended up being the directors of the film, and they honestly hadn't directed anything nearly as big before. They worked on a short film called Cranium Command for Epcot at Walt Disney World, and that was about it. So once the production team for the movie was settled, they started to figure out which parts of the original Beauty and the Beast fairy tale they would use for their retelling. Now, I know a lot of you are probably unfamiliar with the original fairy tale Beauty and the Beast, so let me recap it for you and show the differences between Disney's version and the original story. One major difference from the original story is that Belle is not an only child. In some versions, she has 6 siblings, in some she has 2 older sisters. The sisters kind of always remain consistent. Her older sisters are very vain and selfish in comparison to Beauty, which is what she's called in the story, who is selfless and true of heart. At one point, Beauty's father hears of a business opportunity that will draw him away from the town, and he asks his children what they would like him to bring them back. Beauty's sisters ask for beautiful gowns and jewels and all kinds of expensive things, and Beauty asks for only a single rose. Upon hearing that the merchant has 3 daughters, the Beast agrees to let him go in exchange for one of his daughters. Beauty, of course, ends up being the one who volunteers to be the Beast's prisoner, but he actually really isn't ever mean to her. He has dinner with her every night, he hangs out with her all the time, he asks her to marry her every single day, and she refuses, admittedly because she is repulsed by his gruesome appearance. So as you can see, there are a lot of differences between the original story and Disney's version. For one, there's no Gaston, and for 2, there's no enchanted objects. It's just the Beast living alone in his castle. The idea to have enchanted objects with distinct personalities was invented, actually, by Howard Ashman, who was co-lyricist and executive producer on Beauty and the Beast. Howard Ashman is one of the most significant contributors to the Disney Renaissance. He co-wrote all of the songs for Beauty and the Beast with Alan Menken, and unfortunately passed away before the film was completed. It is somewhat comforting to know that the song he wrote that shares the same title as the movie, Beauty and the Beast, won the Academy Award for Best Original Song. Well deserved. Angela Lansbury, who sings this song on the soundtrack and in the movie, was not originally comfortable with doing so, as it was initially supposed to be somewhat of a rock ballad. Additionally, Paige O'Hara, who's the voice of Belle, says that Beauty and the Beast is her favorite song from the movie, which is funny because she doesn't even sing it. Paige O'Hara is actually a Broadway musical star, as are most of the cast, because when they were making Beauty and the Beast, they actually hoped that it would eventually become a Broadway stage musical, which it did. Paige O'Hara actually wasn't the first actress to be considered for Belle. They actually looked at Jodie Benson, who had just voiced Ariel, to be the voice of Belle, but they needed a more European-sounding voice, and so went with Paige O'Hara. It is said that while she was recording for Belle, a piece of hair would continuously fly into her face, which she would tuck away behind her ear, which inspired this character trait that Belle does repeatedly throughout the movie, where she moves hair out of her face. Ariel and Belle actually share a little bit more in common. They have the same reference model, Sherry Stoner. Robbie Benson, who voices the Beast, actually had his voice intermixed with jaguars and lions growling to make it more animalistic sounding. The only exception is his bit in the song Something There, where it's not mixed with animal sounds and sounds a little bit more like a human voice. And just one more voice acting fun fact for you, Chip was originally only supposed to have 1 line in this movie, as there was another kind of cute sidekick character that got cut eventually, who was going to be more of a presence. The animators and the producers loved Bradley Pierce's voice so much that they expanded Chip's character into much more of a secondary character than he was initially going to be. Now, I've probably said it a million times at this point, but my favorite Disney legend of all time is Glenn Keane, who was a pivotal animator through the Disney Renaissance. He animated Ariel, he animated on Aladdin and Tarzan and Rapunzel, but what he really did for Beauty and the Beast was animate the Beast. and he considers the Beast a cornerstone of his career as an animator. He says that the Beast is a combination of multiple animals, including a lion, a buffalo, a wild boar, a gorilla, a wolf, and a bear. Actually, many of the statues that you can see in the Beast Castle are scrapped concept art for the Beast. The most famous scrapped sequence from this movie is the song Human Again, which was later put back into the film in a DVD re-release and in future stage productions. But there were actually a lot of scenes that got cut from the production, namely a scene where Gaston visits an asylum where Maurice is staying, and one where the Beast drags in a dead animal carcass. The art director of this movie specifically said that Belle is purposefully the only villager in her town that wears blue. This is to separate her from everyone else as odd and different, but also as good, which is why when she later meets the Beast, he's often also wearing blue to signify that he is also good. I've mentioned in previous episodes of Down to Disness the CAPS system, which Pixar invented for Disney to use on their animated films. It was used significantly on Beauty and the Beast, and they wanted to use it more than they did, but they didn't have the time. For example, they wanted to use CGI in the wolf fight scene and the ending rooftop scene, but they ended up basically only using it for the ballroom dance scene. This is how they were able to create the effect of a camera following Belle and the Beast all throughout the grand ballroom while they dance. But they did have a backup in case the cap system didn't work for this scene. What they were going to do, if needed, was just have a spotlight on Belle and the Beast dancing through a pitch black room. They called this the Ice-Capades backup. This was actually the first Disney animated movie to combine 3D animated backgrounds with 2D animated characters moving within them. It was later expanded upon in Aladdin when Aladdin is escaping from the Cave of Wonders. Beauty and the Beast had an overwhelmingly positive reaction from audiences. The film was previewed at the New York Film Festival in 1991 with only about 70% of it finished, and the other 30% being rough pencil tests and uncolored scenes. Even with 30% of it not being finished, the film received a 10-minute standing ovation. Beauty and the Beast went on to be the first animated movie to win Best Picture at the Golden Globes for a musical or comedy, and until Up in 2009, Beauty and the Beast was the only animated feature to be considered for Best Picture at the Oscars. Without each and every one of these Disney Renaissance films, animation at Disney would not have continued. And it fulfilled a longtime dream of Walt Disney's himself to create an animated movie based on Beauty and the Beast. Belle is extremely significant in her own way, being the first brown-haired princess, being the first smart princess. You can argue that's saying a lot, but she was intentionally made to be a more progressive female role model, and I think she is still continued to be one to this day. Of course, it has a lasting legacy in the theme parks. Belle, of course, meets and greets every single day at Disney parks all over the world. Gaston has been a meet and greet character, stage performances at Hollywood Studios and Disneyland, Gray stuff at the Be Our Guest restaurant, multiple Broadway runs, and now a live action adaptation. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna let us relive all of those amazing moments that we love from the original and more. Alan Menken wrote new songs for the live action version. So let me know in the comments if you're excited to see it. Let me know in the comments what you love about Beauty and the Beast. And of course, let me know what movie you'd like to see me cover next month on Down to Disness. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you real soon. Bye!